All right, the recording has started, and this is the February 22nd, 2022 Rook community meeting. So we will go ahead and catch up on the milestones. So yeah, the 1.7, last patch release was still before the last community meeting. So I don't think there's anything to catch up on for 1.7 still. Interrupt me if I'm wrong on that one though, but nothing planned and nothing that has happened since the last community meeting.
Yep, agreed. There's Blaine was looking at a security, what do you call it? A security issue yesterday, which would affect Golang 1.16, right, Blaine? And so there's, I guess if we decide to update, well, the next build that we release should just pick up the latest Golang with the fix.
Right.
But that's right. Okay. But I don't know that but we didn't find it was real urgent to to release a new 1.7 just because of that. It seems like the security bulletin didn't really affect us.
Wait, and were you saying that in order to fix it, we would need to update the version of Go that we build with, or what was the scope of what we would have to change?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Effectively, we would want to update to the latest Golang version, either 1.16 or 1.17. Both have the fix. It's also, I think, pretty unlikely that it affects us, given that it has to it is a math.big overflow issue that I don't think any of our CRD types are directly connected to math.big. So it is listed as a medium priority or a medium severity anyway, and I think we're pretty unlikely to be affected by it. So I think just picking up that fix in the next builds will be good, which we actually don't have to do anything to pick up the next version of Golang for our builds.
Yeah, because our CI just picks up the latest of 1.16 currently, which should get the latest patch. Yeah, so we'll just get it automatically the next time we build.
I'm going to add a see, we're on February 22nd. I'm going to add a note in here about this.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. That sounds good. Thanks for clarifying on that one, Blaine. Okay, then sweet. So then we can talk about 1.8 since that is more relevant and ongoing right now. So we did do a patch release 1.8.5 since the last community meeting on February 8th. We did the patch on the 10th, and then we're planning a release then for later this week as well for 1.8.6. So let's take a look then at the board and get an update here on anything that's blocking or loose ends for the upcoming patch on Thursday.
Yeah, well, first of all, with 1.8.5, that was only 1 week after the previous release. We did that one sooner because there was an operator crash affecting some clusters. So we just got out that quick, which was a regression from 1.8.4. Anyway, so that's why we kind of were shorter on that cycle.
This one right here, Travis?
Yeah, that first one on the list.
Yep. Okay. Yep. That's pretty reasonable to go ahead and scoot a patch out the door instead of waiting around for that one.
Right. Basically, it was affecting, let's see, clusters that updated the CSI config map, I think, which isn't very often. Or maybe it was when, that's right, mon failover, that's what the note says, when the mon endpoints were updated, which affected stuff related to CSI. But anyway, yeah, that fixes it out. And then this Thursday will just be the 2-week cadence to get.
Okay, just back to cadence. Nothing that's particularly driving this release.
Right.
Is there any? So I don't see anything in the blocking release category. So there's nothing here that's in progress that we anticipate, holding the release for. Just putting it out the door on Thursday. Either way.
That's right. Yeah, nothing urgent that I know of.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
Yep.
Blaine, anything else Blaine, you wanted to add on 1.8.6?
I don't know, not on 1.8x6.
Cool. All right. How's then for 1.9, we were discussing last time in the community meeting, like the time frame for Quincy. Is that like becoming more clear about when Quincy would be available and when we could adopt it and get our 1.9 out?
Yeah, end of March was still the last that I found from the SEF team. So I'm going to look again and see if we can get something more concrete, and plan on releasing, within the week or so of Quincy being out. That's the goal in my mind, at least.
It's a no big update there of like, oh, Quincy's delayed for a month or anything like that.
Right. And I haven't seen the, what would it be, 17.0. So there's 17.0 builds, but no 17.1 yet. So I don't think there's an RC candidate last I checked. But yeah, I think after there is an RC candidate as well. I don't know. We've already got the daily CI test running against Quincy, so I don't know that it's real urgent to get something in sooner just for the basic CI test. So we'll see. Maybe 1.1 is out. We should just update the smoke suite to run against Quincy and in master, and just move to that. I think that'll be good.
That sounds like a good approach to me, to make that cut over and start getting that bake time and that validation when we can. I mean,
Right.
either we are already getting some coverage of it right now, but yeah, that makes sense. Any big issues to talk about that's on the board for 1.9?
I don't think so. There's a couple of things in the later agenda that would affect 1.9, but in this board, I don't think there's anything that we wouldn't just that's not already in the agenda.
Cool. Okay.
It's pretty lightweight board though. We need to really put stuff in there and move stuff, start cleaning up 1.8.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff.
1.9.
Yeah, exactly. In 1.8 still, like in the to do column that's not
right
going to happen there. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
So it's time to clean up and move the stuff to 1.9.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Okay, sounds good. Anything else then we want to bring up for releases and milestones?
That's about it.
All right, so we already talked about the Golang update around the math.big library. So then I think Blaine was just capturing that what we said out loud into the meeting agenda here. So thanks for doing that, Blaine.
Yeah.
So yeah, Multis and CSI integration hiccups. I'm not super up to speed on this one. Want to go ahead and catch us up on that, Blaine?
Yeah. I guess I can kind of talk about this a little more generally as well. So we've been talking about this. I mean, Seb, Travis, and I, and some people who work on the CSI component, sort of specifically from a technical standpoint. But there's a sort of generalized problem that exists with any kind of overlay network, whether it's the pod network or Multis. We've been kind of focused on Multis, but it is broadly applicable where, because we use kernel mounts for which are more performant for like SFFS and RBD for getting user pods access to like Ceph storage. If that CSI container that makes those mounts gets restarted, like for an update, for example, that's like the big and very common case. Then we lose the initial network namespace that the mount was created in, and existing mounts no longer like can use that kernel connection. And because the kernel is slow, we don't really have a way to like kill a connection and restart it. So short of like kernel driver improvements that not everyone will have on their systems, our best mitigation today is to have everyone use host networking for the CSI driver. That does still break like the network isolation that Kubernetes ideally would give us. And we had a design that some like network experts suggested for us to be able to still, in the Multus case specifically, be able to connect to the Multus network from the host network namespace. In implementing that, we found that it comes with a few too many technical hurdles where Multus is just too, it has too many tweakable knobs that we likely would not be able to support everything, and we might end up jumping through hoops just to try to support things, and even kind of basic things, because there are so many different options. So we've been talking about a new design. We just earlier today kind of like talked through it more holistically with like CSI developers and with the rest of us, and we think there's a new design that should actually like be, I think, pretty wholly better than currently what we just tried the past like couple months. And without going like super into detail about that design, like the design doc will be showing up upstream soon. Seb is taking on that work, and so there should be more clarity coming up, and then in the next community meeting or the one after, we should be able to point to that design doc. But yeah, and so this also should kind of fix the issue that we're having with Multus, but also with the pod overlay network, where updating CSI plugin pods means that users lose IO to the Ceph cluster. Did all that make kind of sense? I know it's still pretty technical, even trying to kind of gloss over it.
Yeah, I'm glad you recognized that, Blaine. I was gonna say, like, yeah, it makes enough sense to me in terms of like not, being involved in the details and not having a lot of good background training in those areas, anyways. But yeah, definitely useful to understand that a little bit better, the direction it's going.
Yeah, it's
Travis, are you
very...
contributing to that too, or is Blaine and Seb are the ones mainly driving it?
I'm just following along. Yeah, they're the main ones doing it. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a long conversation with all the redesigns. It's reminded me of the early days of Rook, when like every 2 or 3 months we'd have another redesign with the SOM, and are re-architecting everything. Here we are re-architecting the Multus solution every couple months. Yeah, but it finally feels like it's starting to settle, so that's good.
Is there a particular maturity or stability, like an alpha or beta designation to that particular support right now? Is it still an alpha?
Sorry, is what piece in alpha? The just
like
Multus, or
yeah, the Multus aspect of the CSI driver.
Yeah, our use of Multus is still alpha, basically.
Okay.
Just because we have to solve this issue to get it ready for production.
Okay, because I know that like the
Yeah,
CSI as a whole is just progressed and matured, and that one's fairly stable. But like the Multus, I was wondering if that's has a different designation.
Yeah, I think there is at least one other kind of larger Multus issue as well. Before I think it can be like really truly supported. So I think we're all Seb knows definitely more about like Multus as a whole. But yeah, so I think there are just things we're waiting even for like the Multus kind of community itself to kind of fill in some gaps as well.
Cool. All right, that sounds good. Anything else to add on this topic here before we move on?
As long as there aren't any questions, I think we're good.
All righty. Okay, Travis, I know we've reviewed your PRs and gotten those merged in for updating Cassandra and its deprecation. What else to add here in the discussion today?
Yep, so it's all deprecated. Yesterday, I was just realizing that the main website of Rook's website still referred to Cassandra as one of the main operators. So I cleaned that up, removed it from there. The Cassandra docs are still there, of course. So that they just have the deprecation notice and they will remain indefinitely. But the last thing I think action item is to go ahead and archive the repo. I think we're ready to do that. Is there any reason not to do that now? Anybody?
I don't think so, because links, when a repo is archived, if somebody has like there's documentation or a blog post or whatever, a link to that repo, people click it, they're still taken to that repo, right? And it's just like at the top, there's some type of banner that says this repo has been archived, but it doesn't like result in a 404 or not found type of thing, right?
Right, that's what I'd expect too. It's just
Yeah, okay.
read only, you can't push to it.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds,
there.
yeah, that sounds reasonable to me, that, it's not like it's completely wiped off the face of the earth and people wouldn't even know if it's deprecated or whatever, because the notice isn't even there anymore. But not having it actively active contributions and collaboration around the repository is a fine result of that.
Right. Yeah, since I closed all the issues last week, there's no active PRs, no active issues. The docs say it's deprecated. Nobody has responded anywhere in the last week. So I think we'll just.
Did Giannis say anything in the last couple of weeks? I saw his name pop up in Slack, but I can't remember what the heck he said.
Yeah, I pinged him in Slack and he said, okay, well, yep, sorry to see, but gotta do what you gotta do, basically.
Okay, got it. So approval.
Yeah.
Or acceptance, perhaps.
Yeah. And that's that. So.
All right. Sounds good. So Satoru's not here. I
put that in there just to represent some work he did. I didn't want to take credit for it, but because he did it all. So there's this OSD raw mode, which we had enabled last summer, but then we had all these issues with Atari partitions, and Blaine worked through that pain. But now with the latest Ceph release, we can go ahead and enable raw mode, and the Atari partition issues are fixed. And it's been fully verified by Satoru. Looks like we're good. So only newer Ceph, or the latest Ceph release 16.27 will be enabled for raw mode. But I think we're ready, and we're backporting it. Had some merge conflicts Satoru was going to merge or to resolve, but I think we're good to go. And just get it into the next patch release. So that's all, just awareness.
Cool, nice. Well, good to see that then. Like, yeah, I remember hearing those discussions about the Atari mode and partitions and all that stuff, and it was, yeah, that was a lot to work through. So excellent. That's good that it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this last issue here, Travis, around encryption on the wire.
Yep, just another FYI, really. So Messenger 2 is, the Ceph protocol has been around for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years already, and it supports encryption on the wire now, since at least Pacific, but it does require a new kernel. So I've had this PR open to get it working with Rook since November, and finally realized, oh, it's just my kernel version. That's why it won't work for me. And so I was working with Radek from the Ceph team on why it was failing, and there's a workaround to use the RBD, MBD, or Fuse drivers with the CSI driver, but those things still suffer from CSI pod restarts causing an unmount of the volume or detachment or whatever. So it's just not really feasible to use it in production. So I'm going to go ahead and merge the feature and just point out you need the newest kernel, and hopefully someday, well, Madhu from CSI team was saying that RBD MBD is getting close to a solution, so it won't have that issue with the CSI restart during upgrades and all that. So hoping that will be the case soon. But anyway, that's the status of encryption on the wire.
So Travis, will this be, when you merge this, will when you merge this, will this option be enabled by default?
No, it'll be
Oh,
disabled by
okay. It
default.
just exposes the options to be able to actually turn this on and use it.
Right.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just clearly document, here's how you use it, but if you don't have the new
You need
kernel,
Kernel
You're-
5.11 or whatever.
then it's only experimental if you don't have the latest kernel.
Got it. Okay. That
Because
makes sense.
the operator works in encrypted mode and everything because it's using the user mode library basically. But yeah, the CSI driver uses kernel driver by default. So, which is older. It's 4.17 or whatever in Minikube and the OpenShift cluster I tested on. And yep, so we'll see when we can support it fully someday with when the kernel's more common.
All right. That makes sense then. Thanks for updating us on that one, Travis. Okay, so any other community topics then to bring up today? I'm going to go ahead and do this action item right now, Travis, in the 30 minutes we have left in this hour here. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it right now so that we can stop having
adding
an
it.
action item from Jared that goes across meetings.
Right.
All right, sweet.
Sounds
All
good.
right. If there's nothing else then that we can go ahead and adjourn. But good to
Sounds
see
good.
everybody.
Good talking to you.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Yep. See ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.